Have you ever, while sleeping at night, felt as if something had touched your feet? You got startled, looked around, but since there was nothing there, you just ignored it. It probably happened more than once throughout your life, but you never cared much, as it didn't seem like a big deal. Well, let me tell you a story, and maybe from now on you'll think twice before ignoring it when it happens again. In the small town of Ravenwood, something sinister loomed in the shadows of the night. A terrifying legend spread among the residents. The legend of the Footlicker. It was said that a horrible creature, capable of assuming countless forms, roamed the houses and entered bedrooms at night, patiently waiting for the residents to fall asleep to perform a bizarre and gruesome act. No one knew exactly where the monster had come from, but the story spread quickly. The victims, those who dared to sleep without covering their feet with a blanket, would wake up in the middle of the night with a strange sensation. A cold shiver would run down their legs, and a feeling of terror would engulf them. When they finally gathered the courage to look, they would see the monster kneeling beside the bed, its twisted and grotesque form watching them with eyes that glowed in the darkness. Witnesses described the monster in various ways. Some said it had sharp claws like blades and scaly skin, while others claimed it was a shapeless mass of slimy tentacles. The only consistent detail in all the accounts was its ability to shapeshift, adapting to people's deepest fears. As the nights grew more oppressive, the people of Ravenwood began taking extreme precautions. They locked all windows and doors before sleeping, and protective amulets and symbols were hung in their rooms. Some even kept candles lit throughout the night, desperate to keep the creature at bay. However, the monster was cunning. It could turn invisible and also waited in the shadows, biding its time until heavy slumber finally overtook its victims. Then, as the breaths became rhythmically deep and dreams took hold, the monster would silently emerge from its dark lair. It would approach the bed, its invisibility trembling as its repulsive tongue slid over the unprotected feet. The victim's goosebumped skin bore witness to the silent, macabre terror that unfolded. One night, a woman named Evelyn arrived in Ravenwood. Intrigued by the dark tales, she decided to investigate the mystery behind the Footlicker. She spoke to the residents, studied the accounts, and delved deep into the legend. Determined to confront the monster, she refused to cover her feet with a blanket when she went to sleep. The night arrived, and Evelyn's room was immersed in darkness. She felt the cold, heavy air as she nestled under the sheets. Her eyes remained open and vigilant as she waited. She felt the malevolent presence, the sensation of being watched. Knowing the monster was close, she couldn't succumb to sleep. Hours passed, and Evelyn struggled to keep her eyes open. She felt exhaustion weigh her down, but refused to give in. Finally, when the night was at its darkest, Evelyn had an idea. She lit a candle and placed it by the bedside. The flickering light bathed the room in a faint glow. Then she pretended to be asleep and kept a keen eye out for any sign of the monster's presence. As the monster drew near, its distorted form started to become visible. Its shining eyes were now visible in the dim light. Evelyn, heart racing, stared directly at the monster. With a defiant look, she grabbed the blanket and, in a swift motion, covered her feet. The monster let out a furious roar, and its form began to writhe. It desperately tried to regain its invisibility, but the candlelight kept it visible. With one final menacing look at Evelyn, the monster dissipated into the shadows and in a macabre voice said,
"I shall return again."
And thus it vanished completely into the darkness. The people of Ravenwood woke up that morning with a sense of relief they hadn't felt in a long time. The legend of the footlicker had finally come to an end. Or had it? The next day, Evelyn left Ravenwood with a sense of accomplishment. However, a few days later, the footlicker resumed attacking the residents during their sleep. An old traveler passing through the town heard the accounts and quickly came to calm everyone's fears. He recounted the story of the footlicker, how it had emerged and how it tended to attack. The old man said that the creature couldn't be destroyed or repelled by traditional means, prayers, or exorcisms. He stated that the footlicker didn't want to devour people or take their souls into darkness. The footlicker only wanted to satisfy its macabre desires by licking people's feet while they slept. But the only way to ward it off was to cover your feet when you went to sleep at night. By doing so, the footlicker would grow tired of waiting every night and would roam around in search of people who slept with their feet outside the blanket. So, my dear viewers, if you're the type who likes to sleep with your feet uncovered at night, especially during warm weather, here's a warning for you. If you continue to do so before long, on a beautiful night, you might just have the illustrious and macabre visit of the footlicker.